Welcome to another episode of that deep, deep shit where we connect the dots. And in today's episode, I'm reporting live from the Matrix with the Matrix uniform on. Don't I look like Agent Smith? Ain't that about a bitch? Fuck Agent Smith. Y'all, so in today's episode, we're going to do an instant request, man. I just got this request on YouTube, so I'm finna go ahead and do the video. I got a request to do a video about drugs. I was gonna do this video anyways, and just so happened I got a request to do it. So the universe is doing what it's supposed to do. So salute to the universe, right? So look, drugs. Drugs are not necessarily what you think it is. Drugs is not necessarily a controlled substance. Drugs is not necessarily a plant that comes out of the ground. Drugs can be anything. And I'll explain to you why in just a minute. Women can be drugs. Men can be drugs. Sex can be drugs. Getting your feet tickled could be a fucking drug. Alright? Okay? I'll explain. Eating fucking McDonald's can be a drug, and we know that that's real shit. All right, shit, whatever, what have you. Anything that you can get addicted to can be considered a drug, and I'll explain why. But in specifics, we're going to talk about, drugs, heroin, cocaine, crack, PCP, motherfucking lean, uppers, downers, bow, same thing as lean, right? You know what I'm saying? Handlebars, all that shit that motherfuckers like to indulge in, right? Alright, this is what we're gonna talk about. Okay, so drugs does have a very positive implication on one's life and actions. It can, in moderation, and spiritual progress. It could, in moderation. But it also has a negative connotation to it as well. And I will give my opinions about drugs a little later. Now, you can do anything in moderation and it'll be good. Or you can do anything in excess and it could be bad. Drinking a lot of water can kill you. Drinking just enough water can be healthy. That's my example. I'm not saying go run out there and go snort some goddamn coke, or you know what I'm saying, whatever the fuck it is you into. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that certain drugs can unlock certain doors to spiritual evolution, if you will. This is why a lot of people find profound concepts after smoking weed. All these epiphanies come up after smoking weed because it opens the pineal. But the thing about drugs and spiritual growth is that it's false. It's a false way to open the pineal because as soon as you open it, it closes when your high comes down. That's with any drug. Any hallucinogen. And the reason why they call drugs hallucinogens is because it opens up the pineal and you see shit or hear shit that you normally wouldn't hear. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It means that you are tuned, you are now watching that shit. You know what I mean? So, whatever. So, there can be positive uses for it. But I wouldn't encourage it because they're not natural. You should seek to obtain spiritual progress naturally. And the reason why you even have pineal gland and secretions and melatonin secretions and serotonin secretions and dopamine secretions is because any effect that a drug does to you is not the drug. It's you. You're doing it to yourself. I'll give you an example. The reason why they call drugs dope is because most drugs release a chemical called dopamine. Right? It releases a chemical called dopamine. So that chemical is a feel-good pleasure chemical, makes you feel good. But the key and point is the chemical's already in your body. The drugs is just releasing it falsely. Hold on, I gotta back up and get out of this. Hold on, this lady's space. You know, I'm all in her space. So, my point of saying all that is to say this. If you're addicted to anything that gives you pleasure, the pleasure is already inside of you. Whatever you're doing, whether it's fucking, drinking, smoking dope, all of that pleasure or gratification is already inside of your body. You just have to learn how to release it naturally. With proper breathing, you can do this. With proper focus, you can do these things. There's no need to even get high. Now, I'm playing devil's advocate because even though you can accomplish everything you can with drugs naturally, you know, sometimes eating an edible here and there ain't nothing wrong with that. The reason why I say eating an edible, a marijuana edible, is because digesting the marijuana is 1,000% safer and healthier and more natural than burning it. Burning anything, smoking anything is not what's popping. It's unnatural. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't do it because it's gonna have its effects, but when you digest things, that's more of a spiritual way to process it. You know what I'm saying? Teas, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for those who are abusing anything, I would highly suggest you cut it out, especially if you're trying to practice spiritual techniques and methods, because it can skewer your vision and your focus. You can start tapping into some type of shit that you may not be wanting to tap into, and you won't know the difference because you're altered. You know what I'm saying? You're not in your natural state. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not telling you not to because you know better, and I'm not telling you to do it because you know better. You know what I'm saying? Most people are grown that's watching this, but there are some kids. And if you're a child, if you're under the age of 18, legal consent in your state or region, I highly, highly, highly suggest you do not partake in any type of illegal activity. So, with that being said, I'm finna sign out.